Rama माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय कुंज बिहारी गोपी
lecture, but I'm going to go down to our booth, and that will be for 30 minutes, and then after that we will have our arti and prashad.
Hey, boy. Good, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Ajnanaतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपथकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात् दशतारिणे. मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरोन् दीनतारणम्. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायत कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्वीसे नमः. नमो ब्राह्मण्य देवाय गो ब्राह्मणेताय च जगदीताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरंगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुदे देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासुदेव गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So it's an honor and privilege again to be with all the devotees. It almost feels like
Leave it, don't take it.
it almost feels like previous life we were all in classes like this, right? It's almost like almost 2 years, right? So three or 4 months short of 2 years. So it's almost it's like a dream come true that we are all able to meet together here, and we sincerely thank Kishore Mane Prabhu and the entire family for hosting us today. So let's put our hands together to thank them. So, and today is a very special day, and that's why Prabhu has hosted us on this day. It could have been yesterday. Typically home programs are on Saturdays, but Prabhu was able to do it today, and there is a very good reason why Prabhu hosted it today. So we are so thankful to all of you, in spite of the weather that we had to face, that all of you are here today. So Uttana Ekadasi, there are 2 Ekadasis that comes during every Kartik. One is Rama Ekadasi, which happens during the Krishna Paksha, the dark phase of the moon. And what is happening today is Uttana Ekadasi, which is during the bright phase of the moon, Gaura Paksha or Sukla Paksha. And in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, which has about 438 verses, about 30 to 35 verses glorify this particular Ekadasi. We know how important is any Ekadasi, but there is special mention about this Ekadasi again and again. So, we have some extracts, so if Sudarshan Gopal Prabhu can read some of it loudly so that all of us can get the benefit through you, in that way we are welcoming you back to Canada as well. So let's put our hands together to welcome Sudarshan Gopal Prabhu.
Okay, so this is from Hari Bhakti Vilas, chapter number 16, number 290. So this is what glories of Uttana Ekadashi, also known as Prabodhini or Hari Bodhini Ekadashi. So the first one was, perform good deeds and get unlimited benefits. O Brahmana, whatever a person does on Prabodhani Ekadashi, such as bathing in a sacred river, giving charity, performing austerity, or performing a sacrifice for the pleasure of Lord Janardana, bestows upon one unlimited benefit. Number 306, 307. My dear son, O great sage of Narada, if Lord Govinda is faithfully worshipped on the auspicious day of Prabodhani, then all the reactions to the sinful activities committed during childhood, youth, and old age during the previous 7 lifetimes are vanquished by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Number 308. O Narada, one who hears about the glories, one who hears about and glorifies the transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes of Lord Hari on Prabodhani Ekadashi day obtains the merit of giving the entire earth consisting of 7 islands in charity.
Beautiful. There are many, many more, but then Prabhu selected some of them for us to know the importance of today's Ekadasi. So we are very grateful to each one of you for giving us your valuable time so that all of us can come together. And as we heard, Rama Ekadasi is also very important, but today is Uttanna Ekadasi. And we are all fasting, and today they'll be feasting, and we are already feasting with a lot of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra as well today. So we have this month of Damodar for another four days. From tomorrow, 4 more days, because the Bhishma Panchaka started today. So we have it for another 4 days.
18th is finished.
18th, which is Thursday, is the last day. So it's not too late. So the message here is, the topic of what we want to speak today is, it's not too late, but we have to be at 212 degrees. Okay, so what is that 212 degrees? So we'll hear that in the next little while. So it's not too late as long as we are at 212 degrees. So remember that. If I miss that, so we'll go through what is this 212 degrees. So last minute, even 4 days is lot of time for us to take part in devotional service, much more. So all of you have already been doing so much of devotional service, not just during this month of Kartik, but every day. But as we know, that there is so much of benefit during this month of Kartik. So if you feel that you've not done enough, still there is a lot of time. So till Thursday we have time. And even from sports perspective, if you're all following different sports, I'm pretty sure all of you are following, you would have heard something about some sport. There is, if you're following baseball, in the bottom of the 9th, I don't want to get too technical, in the bottom of the 9th inning, when a team is trailing by, say, 3 runs, and this team has got all the bases loaded, all the 4 bases are loaded, and then there is this massive home run on the bottom of the 9th. So they win the game. So even in the last minute, things can take place in favor of you. For those of you who follow basketball, I think it was in 2019, Toronto Raptors. All of you should know Toronto Raptors. So that team won the NBA championship. And I think it was in the semi-finals. This person was Kawhi Leonard. If you remember, against one of the teams, 76ers, it was a buzzer beater. Last second, it just hit the rim 3 times and it went inside, and Toronto Raptors made it, right? So there is hope for all of us, even from the sports field, even cricket. For those of you who follow cricket, maybe I'm looking around and maybe more devotees, you follow cricket more than other sports. Not that you're spending time, I'm just saying, it's good to know what is going around us. In the 2018, there was a tournament in Sri Lanka. It was called as Nirahas Trophy against Bangladesh. This is a month of Kartik, right? So I hope it's okay to say this was Dinesh Kartik, by the way. This person hit a 6 of the last ball. Okay, so 50 overs means 300 balls, another team 300 balls, so 600 balls, 599 balls. There was not much of things happening, but on the 600 ball, there was this massive 6, and India won against Bangladesh in the finals, right? And NFL as well. If you watch NFL, there is this Hail Mary, like 4th quarter, dying seconds, they call it as Hail Mary. They throw this ball so far away, 50, 60 yards, and then they catch. And same thing with soccer as well, right? After the 90 minutes, there is this injury time, and 94th minute, they score a goal and they'll win. So there is hope for us all around, right? In 800 meters, you see this person right from the back, he comes last second, he wins the 800-meter race or any other 5,000-meter steeplechase, etc. So from sports as well, it's never too late, and that's the lesson for all of us as well. Even for somebody who's in the death row, he's a death row inmate, right? So he's there, and you heard about this presidential pardoning. You would have heard that, right? So in Iran, if you remember, this was a famous case where this person was supposed to be put to death, and then the mother of the person who this person killed, she came at the very last minute and she slapped this person who killed her son, and she said, I am pardoning him. There is no need of presidential pardon in that country. It was the mother of the victim who came and just slapped him. That was all the punishment she wanted to give. She slapped this person. It's a world famous case. And then this boy, he was also a young boy. So he had killed, he killed this lady's son in a fight that they had, right? So inadvertently he died, but the punishment was death penalty, and the mother of the victim came and saved by slapping this boy. So last minute things can happen. Now let's move to scripture. So scriptural wise as well, there is a lot of these lessons for us to know that it's never too late. A case in point, we talked about last ball sixer. Let's talk about the 6th canto. We know Ajamil pastime where he was destined to go down to the hellish planet, and the last, you can say last minute, he was able to, come back to Haridwar, perform devotional service, surrender to the Lord, and then go back home, back to God. And 4 of the Vishnu Dudas came and took him back, right? So that's because of the association and because of the instruction. So last minute also things can change. So we have a lot of time. So 4 days is eternity, right? And let's not assume. We have to, assume that we don't know. Maharaj Parikshit knew he's got 7 days to live. We don't know how long. So let's make use of this 4 days that we have to maximize. Draupadi also, right? She almost last minute, you can say last ball sixer, right? Finally, she gave everything, and then she called out Krishna's name, and then Krishna incarnated in the form of unlimited sari. So many examples, right? So we have in the 8th canto, we have Gajendra pastime as well. 1,000 years he could have given up, but last moment he was thinking of all the prayers that he remembered from his previous life as the king, Indradumna, and then he was able to chant with that devotion, and then he got the body as the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well. So 2.72, the last verse of the 2nd chapter, where Krishna is saying, Anta kalepi Brahma nirvanam richati. So even in the last hour, if you're fully focused on surrendering in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we can go back home, back to Godhead. So this is not like only in sports, in spiritual activity also, it's never too late, and that's the last verse of the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And we just heard about Sukhdev Goswami's instruction to Maharaj Parikshit as well, because he had 7 days to live. And very interesting, Sukhdev Goswami in the 3rd canto explains to Maharaj Parikshit, actually 2nd canto, he explains to Maharaj Parikshit that don't worry, 7 days is long period of time. 7 days is long period of time, because there is already a history of one great king. In one moment, he went back home, back to Godhead. And his name is? Katwanga. So, yeah. So, Katwanga's glories are there in the 2nd canto, 9th canto, 9th chapter, 10th chapter, as well as in the 11th canto as well. Because Krishna is explaining through that pastime of Avaduta, where he's explaining to Uddhava that one moment is enough for us to go back home, back to Godhead, as long as we are in that. Krishna didn't say 212 degrees. We'll get to that 212 degrees in the next few minutes as well. So this Katwanga's pastime is very, very interesting, because he's one of those kings who fought for the Devatas, right? So this is very unprecedented, right? So how can an earthly king who's unconquerable, how can he help the Devatas, right? They are extremely powerful, as we know. But you can think in terms of, when there is warfare in Afghanistan, who's there? Americans are there, right? When there is warfare and fight in Iraq, Americans are there because they are much more equipped, they are more powerful than the local army of Iraq or Afghanistan. They are there. So in that context, you can think of this great king along with few other great kings. You remember any other great king who went to this higher planetary system to fight for the Devatas? Yeah, Muchukunda is one, and then there is also one more. Very famous person, more famous than Muchukunda as far as this helping nature for these Devatas are concerned. From the 9th canto, we read about this person. He is the grandson of Vishwamitra and Menaka, and he is the son of Shakuntala and Dushmanta, and his name is Bharat. Very good. So Bharat, you can say Bharat Maharaj because there are 3 Bharats, right? As we know, 3 Bharats are, one is elder brother of Lord Rama, and then we have another Bharat, and that is so Bharat, who's the eldest son of Lord Rishabdev. He had 100 sons, and then we know the story. The next he was thinking Antakale Chamame was thinking of the deer. He became a deer, and in the following life he became Jada Bharat, as you said, right? But then this Bharat is the Bharat who's the grandson of Vishwamitra, after whom the Kauravas and the Pandavas are called as Bharata. In Bhagavad Gita, many times, many of these verses are there, Bharata. Who's that? So Prabhupada explains that this is after this Bharat, who's the grandson of Vishwamitra, because in that line, Lord Krishna and Pandavas, everybody appeared later on. So this Bharat is very special personality. We heard about all this Tarzan movie we hear, right? He's the original Tarzan because he used to tame, when he was a little boy. We read from Srimad Bhagavatam, he was, all these wild lions and elephants, he used to tame them very easily when he was a little boy. Very strong personality. And also as he was growing up, he was doing so much of devotional service. It says that he did 55 Aswamedha Yajna in the banks of Ganges, 78 in the banks of Yamuna, and he ruled for 27,000 years, and he gave so much of charity. So Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies this person. Now, in what aspect he helped the Devatas? Devatas' daughters and the wives were captured by the demons, it seems, and they were taken to lower planetary system, to Rasatala. And then the Devatas had to come to Bharata and said, please come and release them. They've got caught in Rasatala planet. So here Bharata went there and he actually saved them. So he's one of those great kings who actually fought for the Devatas. In a way, Devatas are all devotees, so he's serving the devotees. So that's the mindset from this wonderful pastime. So this is one of those great personalities, and as all of you said, the second person who helped the Devatas fight. These are extraordinary circumstances, right? These are unconquerable kings, but just imagine they go to the higher planetary system, all these aeroplanes and everything are arranged for these kings, for them to go. In the self-same body, they're able to go. Not everybody is able to go. We read other pastimes where they can't go to the higher planetary system in the same body. But here all the facilities are given because of their leadership capability. The second king was, as you said, Muchukunda. Muchukunda was another person who did the role of commander-in-chief for the Devatas before who took on the role? Kartikeya. Very good. Who said that? Prabhu, wonderful. Yeah, that's great. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that amongst the commander-in-chiefs, he's Senadipati, he is Kartikeya, right? So before Kartikeya took on the role, actually it was Muchukunda who did that role. And then what did he ask? We know the pastor where he said, I need a benediction, I just want to sleep, because he was just fighting on and on and on without sleep. And then we know how he opened his eyes and Kalyavana was burnt to death. Krishna enacted all that. He wanted to give that glory to Muchukunda because Krishna could have easily killed Kalyavana. So he wanted
Krishna
to.
named after the Ranachora, yes?
That was later on when he jumped from the mountain, right? So which followed this pastime actually. That pastime will follow all this, right? So here, and then there was, with his just look, which is with his looks, he burnt this Kalyavana. Any other pastime that you can think of? Somebody burnt many people with looks.
Kapil, they burnt the.
Yeah, very good.
The 1,000 sons of Sagar Maharaj.
Yeah, 60,000 great uncles of Sagar Maharaj, right? Or his sons actually. Yeah, so Bhagirath's great uncle. So he was also, they were also burnt by just the looks of Lord Kapila, who read so much in the third canto. So these are the three kings, and the third king is this Muchukunda. So this Katwanga. We talked about Bharata, we talked about Muchukunda. The third king is Katwanga. So again, he's referred to in the second canto, ninth canto, 9th chapter, 10th chapter, as well as in the 11th canto as well. So this Katwanga is very special because he is an ancestor of Lord Rama. So he is such a ancient king, because Krishna is referring to him when he is explaining to Uddhava. So how old is this person? And Maharaj Parikshit is hearing from Sukdev Goswami about Katwanga, because he's saying, you have 7 days. That's a lot of time for you to go back to God, because he had only one moment. So we read about this Katwanga in the ninth canto, 9th chapter more, where it is said that he also went and fought for the Devatas, and then the Devatas, of course, they said, thank you so much for fighting and making us win. Please ask us what you want. Whatever you want. You want, whatever planets and whatever you want, we can give. But Srimad Bhagavatam says, he's such an intelligent person. He just said, I just want an answer to the question. I just want an answer to the question. I don't want anything else. And then the question that he asked was, please tell me when I'm going to die. That's all he asked, right? Because he could have asked for anything material, but then he would not have lived to enjoy those temporary gains, right? So he was told that you just have one moment. And then we read the description from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, etc. One moment means 48 minutes, which is one muhurta. So one muhurta, we've heard about Brahma muhurta, 1.5 hours before the sunrise, etc. Right? So he had 48 minutes, and it is said that instantaneously he was transferred from he said, I need to go to earth to surrender to the Lord to perform devotional service. Why? He could have done that there. But we also read that it's a place of enjoyment, right? This heavenly kingdom is place of enjoyment. So he does not have time. So he wanted to come, and the transfer is instantaneous. Just like we close our eyes and when we think that we are in India, you are there in India. So the space travel is also instantaneous. So it didn't take even 1 minute, it seems, for him to get transferred from there. So he had the entire 48 minutes, which is one moment, which is one muhurta, and then he surrendered to the Lord. He performed devotional service, and he went back home, back to God. So we have seen some movies, right? In the movies, the wife or the girl will have this time bomb strapped in the chest. Remember, in most of the movies, right? There'll be a time bomb that will be strapped in the back or here, and then there'll be this LED, and then it'll say 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, and there's always this hero. We will have a scissor. Somehow or the other, he'll always cut the correct wire. Right? In spite of a maze of wires, red, green, blue, he will always cut the correct wire. So here, Katwanga had this big LED you can think of, right? Minus 48 minutes, minus 47 minutes as he's coming. Not that he lived in this material world, but then he didn't have to be born again in this material world, because Srimad Bhagavatam says he went back home, back to Godhead. So he cut the wire, you can say, with the scissor of surrender. Scissor of surrender is what he had used to go back home, back to Godhead. So it's never too late for us from all these wonderful pastimes. But the key is 212 degrees. So what is this 212 degrees? So for those of you who are students of science, let's stick to Fahrenheit, okay? So I'm just 32 degree Fahrenheit is the melting point of ice. Okay, so I don't want to say 0 degrees, etc. Let's stick with Fahrenheit. So 32 degree Fahrenheit is the melting point of ice. What does that mean?
Ice starts to melt.
Ice starts to melt. At that time, water is in this solid state. Okay, so it's like ice cube. Ice cube is at 32 degree Fahrenheit. And slowly, as it gets higher and higher, 32, and it goes higher and higher and higher, up to 211 degrees Celsius, nothing happens. Yeah, the water gets from more ice cold, right? From this ice cube, it becomes watery, but that water is still cold at 40 degree, 45 degree, etc. Then it becomes little warmer, and then you keep on heating it. At 211 degrees Celsius, still nothing happens. 212 degree Fahrenheit, all in Fahrenheit, 212 degree, that's when it becomes steam. So solid to liquid, then it becomes steam. When it becomes steam, that's when it becomes useful, right? So steam engine and steam ship at this time, but even now, turbines in chemical factories, they use this steam that is boiling at 212 degree Fahrenheit, right? And also you have this in petrochemical industries, and even steam vacuum. Steam vacuum is that steam that is able to, kill the germs, etc. We have steam bath as well. There's a lot of steam coming from the bath as well, which is also based on that. So there is 180 degrees difference between 32 degrees and 212 degrees. 180 degrees difference. Everybody is okay? 32 degrees. You minus 212 minus 32 degrees. That's 180 degrees in between. But 179 degrees, nothing happens. That key is that 179 to 180 degrees. That's when things happen. So that's what we want to use that analogy for us to know that, yeah, it's not too late, but if we are at 212 degree. So if you go for some seminar, they'll talk about 212 degree attitude, 212 degree, giving it all, etc. But in our scriptural reference, we can term it as 212 degree surrender or 212 degree devotion. So, Vince Lombardi, he's a legend, right? And he said the difference, inches is the difference between champion and the runner-up. Just inches. In the NFL, there's just inches, right? So even if you take a golf analogy, in golf there are 4 rounds and there are 18 holes, right? In major tournaments, there are Masters, US Open, you have British Open and PGA Championship, right? So these are the 4 major golf tournaments, and each day they will have 18 holes, 4 rounds they have. In the last 20 years, if you do an analysis, the difference between the winner and the loser is 2 to 3 strokes only. Only that. That's the only difference. But the difference in the prize money between the winner and the loser is 78%. So here the last minute push, that's the difference, right? So are we ready to get into that boiling point? Otherwise, we are where we are. So that's the theme of what we want to talk today. It's never too late, but if we are at that 212 degree devotion, then things will start happening. So with that in mind, one of the things that we want to talk about, one item that we want to focus during this month of Damodar is offering of this lamp. So, there are many things that we do during this month of Kartik, but let's focus a little bit on this lamp that is being offered, right? So, usually a lamp is either made of clay, and I'm just looking at the lamp that may be there. So, it's either made of clay or brass or silver or gold, okay? So, in some homes you have gold lamps as well. That's one aspect. That's the foundation of what you're going to offer. And then you have this ghee wick. Ghee wick is usually made of cotton because it catches fire very easily. And then you either, according to Hari Bhakti Vilas, it says when you're going to offer it to Lord Krishna, it can be either sesame oil or ghee. Okay, so both. It doesn't say no, it doesn't say only ghee. It says sesame oil or ghee. But in those days, it might be expensive, so the sesame oil option is there. And sesame is also very, very sacred, because Garuda Puran says sesame actually appeared from the sweat of Lord Vishnu. Okay, and this sesame oil or gingerly oil is associated with goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi. So it is said that, for those of you who have got, when you gave birth to a child or when you had a little boy, during this Jatakarma, Namakarna and whatever ceremony, you are supposed to sprinkle the black sesame in your house very often. And you're supposed to keep black sesame outside your house as well, or just inside the door as well. Because this black sesame actually ensures that the negative forces are not available, or they're not coming there. It chases them away. So it's a very, very, for those of you who got initiated, you always offer this sesame and barley into the fire as well, right? And for those of you who do tarpanam, offering, it is always with black sesame, right? So, Deva Tarpanam and Pitri Tarpanam, it's always like this, and you offer the black sesame. And it is said that the dormant energy, when you chant those mantras, it goes in a spiral manner, and the Pitris come and then they take the offering. Unfulfilled desires are fulfilled when you offer this black sesame with water. So you may be thinking, black sesame and water, what does it do? All of them may have different desires. So in the Vedic scripture it is said, it actually converts to what the ancestors want. So whatever they want, this black sesame and water converts it to what they were deprived of, and then they get that and they go happily blessing you. So that is one of the reasons why we use this black sesame. So this sesame oil that you're showing to the Lord is as auspicious as ghee. And of course we use ghee. One of the reasons we use ghee is that it's called as golden elixir, right? And there is a samhita actually which is attached to Ayurveda. Ayurveda is a Upaveda. Upaveda, we know the 4 Vedas, and then there are Upavedas. Upavedas means sub-Vedas, like Dhanurveda, you have Gandharva Veda, then you have Ayurveda. Within Ayurveda, there is a Samhita, Chakrita Samrita, I think his name, and the name is, and it glorifies the ghee. And it says how the memory power increases when you have pure ghee, right? So it glorifies, and of course ghee is coming from cow, and cow is the most sacred of all animals as far as Krishna is concerned, and it's not the favorite animal of Western countries. The favorite animal in the Western country is cat and dog, right? Nothing against anybody who's got cat and dogs, because even Advaita Acharya and other devotees had pets in their house, and all these pets had prasadam and they went back to God. We know Shivananda said there is a pastime of dog getting this beautiful, I think, coconut pieces from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and he went back to God. So it's $100 billion per year industry, right? In US alone, this pet industry is $100 billion. You have spa for the dogs and cats. You have even a funeral director for a dog, and also they give, when somebody's dying, they give this property or whatever it is. I don't know how it works. Of course, the dog cannot sign, but then it is given to somebody. You have to take care of my dog or cat, right? So we know it's a big industry. But coming back to it, so the ghee that is being offered is from the favorite animal of Lord Krishna. And Krishna says in 9.16, Aham eva jyam. So he's saying, I am butter. So of course we know milk and then butter and then clarified butter, right? Aham eva jyam. So I am butter. So it's very perplexing as to why somebody will call Krishna a butter thief. He's saying, I am butter, right? How can he steal himself? So it might not be the best term, butter thief. And he also says later on that Gavyam Ajyam. In the 11th canto, Gavyam Ajyam means I am the clarified butter. And that's what we are offering to the Lord. And we know in the 5th canto we read that there is an ocean. There is an ocean that is made of ghee, clarified butter, right? So it's an ocean that is made of clarified butter. And in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, he had wonderful prasad in 2 devotees' house. 2 devotees. One is Advaita Acharya and the other one is Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And we read how in that middle of the rice there was this beautiful island of ghee, yellow color ghee that was there, golden ghee. So Lord Krishna likes ghee as well, not just milk, not just cow, but ghee as well. So that's one of the reasons why we offer ghee lamp to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we are going to offer that. So that's why we're focusing on this lamp part of it today. And the most important part, we put all this together. You have the ghee lamp, you have the ghee, then you have this, the lamp itself that is made of either brass or clay or silver or gold. And what comes there is the Agni, fire, right? And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5 times that I am Agni. Okay, so let's not get into it. Oh, I think it's a Devata. 5 times Krishna says, not once, twice, 5 times that he is Agni. And in the 11th chapter, Arjuna again says, my dear Lord, you are Agni. Okay, and twice in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th canto, 16th chapter, if you remember 16th chapter of the 11th canto, there is a lot of similarity between Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. What Lord Krishna mentioned to Arjuna, he is mentioning to Uddhava. So there's a lot of similarities, right? So I'm the taste of water, it's there. Not exactly he's saying I'm the sweet taste of water, right? So there is a lot of similarity. So he's saying twice there. So 5 plus 1 plus 2, 8 times in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, that is direct statement that Krishna is Agni. One indirect by Arjuna. And for those of you who are getting familiar with the Vedic scriptures, especially Rig Veda, some of us are getting trained on this. Now that all of us should have more time, right? We've been in Krishna conscious for so long, we've read Bhagavad Gita, trying to understand. There's always room to get deeper and deeper, but we have enough time. And now's the time for us to know a little bit about the Vedic scripture, because 1.1.1 in Srimad Bhagavatam, it says, Krishna himself transferred the Vedas to Brahma. First canto, first chapter, first verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. So why wouldn't we not try to understand? And this is the age where we can get everything that you want, the perfect intonation, pronunciation, everything that you want, it's all available, right? So this in the Rig Veda, which is the foundation of Yajurveda. Yajurveda, you have Shukla Yajurveda, you have the black and white Yajurveda, and then you have Samaveda, Atharvaveda. But especially Samaveda, 75 verses are only unique, but everything else is from Rig Veda. So this Rig Veda is the foundation, and it's got 1028 suktas. Suktas is set of verses, right? You have Purusha Sukta, Shri Sukta, Vishnu Sukta, etc. So out of 1028, 200 and I don't remember exactly, 218 or 220 suktas, which translate to about 2,300 verses. Out of 10,500 verses, glorify Agni. So where we are going with it is what you are going to offer, it's glorified in Rig Veda because it's non-different from Krishna, as we heard 8 times in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That is Lord Krishna. So we have to have that knowledge that how, faith is important, right? So Prabhu also read the glories of Uttana Ekadasi. You perform devotional service, you offer this. Prabhu will read some verses as well. Faith is like Wi-Fi. Prabhu's got Wi-Fi here. Right, Prabhu? You have Wi-Fi here. Yeah. If anybody is running short of whatever data, you can connect it to Wi-Fi. Can anybody see Wi-Fi? You can't see the Wi-Fi, but it helps you connect, right? And it is also said that's the medium of exchange with God. So you go to India, it's Indian rupees. You go to Thailand, it's baht. But with Lord, it is medium of exchange is faith. You have more faith, then God gives you more, right? So the important part here is Agni is glorified in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Vedic scriptures, and we also do this 4-2-3-7, right? And it's very coincidental that the form of Agni, anybody remembers the form of Agni? Anybody knows? Remembers? You may remember this. So it is said in the 4th mandala of Rig Veda, right? Chatvari Shringa Trayo O Asya Pada Dvishirshe Sapta Asta Aso Asya, from the Rig Veda. So it says Chatvari Shringa, 4 horns. This is the form of Agni. 4 horns. Chatvari Shringa Trayo Asya Pada, 3 legs. Okay, very, very unique, right? So don't think that he's a human being. When we say Brahma's got 4 heads, he's not, don't think, how can he live? He's not a human being, okay? So here this Agni, who's a living form of Lord Krishna, or he's Lord Krishna on earth. You can say that, right? Because again and again he's saying, I am Krishna. So, Chatvari Shringa, Trayo O Asya Pada, Dvi Shirshe, 2 heads, okay? Agni's got 2 heads, and 7 arms. Sapta hasta aso asya, 7 arms. So 7 arms. So again, let's anybody can repeat this? 4 horns, 3 legs, 2 heads, and 7 arms. Now, does that ring a bell? 4, 2, 3, 7. So you can always think, but not exactly 4 legs, etc. Right? When you're doing to the feet of Lord Krishna, it's 4 circles. But that doesn't mean that Agni's got 4 legs, but he's got 3 legs. But the number 4, 2, 3, 7. Whenever you're offering this lamb to, during the month of Damodar, you can always think of the form of Agni, right? And then Agni is glorified again and again and again in Rig Veda, right? So many verses, right? So we may not have time, but Agni Suktam, right? The first 9 verses of Rig Veda glorifies what all of us are going to offer to the Lord. So that's the Agni Suktam, right? Agni mi ile purohi thai yajnasya devam ritvijam Otaharam Ratnadatamam. And it goes on. Agnif Purve e Biririshi Biridyonutanairutas Devang Eha Vakshati. Beautiful, beautiful 9 verses, right? It's all glorifying. And what it says is, Agni, he can look at everything. And he's omnipotent, because you can, non-different from Lord Krishna, and then to take away your sins and to get everything as well, right? Nucha Puracha Sadanam Rahinam. These are all very famous Rig Veda verses glorifying Agni. Nucha Puracha Sadanam Rahinam Jatasya Chachaya Manasya Chaksham Sachasta Gopam Babachasta Bure E Deva Agnin Darayan Dravinoda. Dravinoda is also another name for Agni. Dravinoda, Dravinasa Sturasya Dravinoda, Sanarasya Prayam Sat, Dravinoda Viravati Mrisham no Dravinoda Raasat Dirgamayu. So for your health and for wealth and everything, you need that for performing devotional service. So asking for wealth or health is not material, because you need health to perform arati. Is that right? All the wonderful pujaris are there. If your hand is not working, can you show the arati? As much as possible, we'll say, yeah, we are not the body, we know that. We don't waste too much time. But you need to keep your body and soul together, because body is the temple of the soul, right? So you need to keep that together. So you're asking Agni, please help me have a better health, and then, give me the wealth that I need, because even for you to go to Vrindavan and other places, is anybody going to take you for free in Air Canada? Prabhu, I am a devotee, please take me for free. You still need money, right? Even to go there, rickshaw, everywhere you need money. So these are all the hidden gems. And Vedic scriptures, as we know, it's all vibration which is there. It's like almost like the jump drive that you use when you chant. You're using the jump drive to extract that sound vibration. So Agni is actually Lord Krishna's representation on earth. And it takes our prayers. So don't forget to pray when you're offering, because we are going to sing the Damodara Ashtakam, right? So it takes our prayers up. That's the only element that goes up. Can you think of any other element that goes up? Water comes down. Everything comes down. Only Agni goes up. Is that not something spectacular? It goes up. Only element that goes up. And it connects the material world with the spiritual world. It connects that. So it takes our prayers through the wings of the flame of Agni. There are flames of Agni. It takes it up and brings the blessing back. It's a two-way traffic, right? It's like almost like FedEx or FedEx, takes it and then brings it back as well, right? If you want. So that's the Agni. And it's also called as Pavaka, not the vegetable Pavaka. It's Pavaka means one that purifies. It also purifies the most pure, which is gold. It removes our contamination in our consciousness as well. So, and it is said that when you have this ghee lamp and you leave it like that, for 4 hours, this mode of goodness is there. Even after it is switched off, that mode of goodness is there. So, little details that we read from Rig Veda as well about the glories of offering lamp to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as we heard, 4, 2, 3, 7. In those days, why? We can go and think why 4, 2, 3, 7, etc. But basically, the message is start off from the lotus feet of the Lord. We look at the feet and then go gradually up and then 7 times around, right? In those days, for even now when you go to Sri Rangam and other temples, do they have massive lighting inside the place where the Lord is? No, it's very dark. So when you see this lamp that is going around, you see the beauty of the Lord. So it removes the impurities. The lamp burns our karma also. Okay. So this is the wonderful opportunity that we have with this 212 degree devotion that we have. And I'm looking at the time as well. We are on the dot at 8:15. So what we can do is at this point in time, maybe we'll get Sudarshan Gopal Prabhu to read some of the glories of offering the lamp. We have heard this many, many times, but nothing like just before you offer the lamp, and now that you know the form of the Agni as well, Chatvari Shinga Trayo O Asya Pada Dvi Shirshe Sapta Hasta Aso Asya. And when you offer the lamp, you're pleasing the Lord. That's the most important. You're pleasing the Lord, but at the same time, the byproducts are you're burning your karma, right? You're burning your karma, and then your impurities in the consciousness as well, and you're leaving this mode of goodness in this beautiful house of Prabhu as well, who's brought us in, and the wonderful kirtan that both the Prabhus were singing, it removes any of the negative energies that may be there in this place, right? So even when Prabhu was getting all these people to do all this beautiful intricate work, somebody may have tripped and got a sprain or anything like that, right? So all this will offset that. And when they were building this house at whatever time, earthworms were all displaced, right? Earthworms were all living happily underneath. They were all displaced, and all this wooden, everywhere you see wooden is a tree that was killed, right? To make all these cupboards and everything else, right? Similar to what we do when we offer prasadam, when we honor prasadam. It's also a living thing, but what to do? One living entity is a food for other living entity, right? Narada Muni has said that. So that's why Krishna says, Yagyashista Sinastanto, 3.13. You offer and then eat, then he takes away all the sins as well. So, Prabhu, if you can read, a couple of minutes, and then we can, any thoughts, suggestions after that, and if not, we can do the Damodara Arti.
Glories of offering lamp from Hari Bhakti Vilas, 16th Vilas. Number 99. When one offers a lamp during the month of Kartika, his sins in many thousands and millions of births perish in half an eye blink. 108. By offering a lamp during the month of Kartika, one burns away a collection of sins as big as Mount Meru or Mount Mandara. Of this, there is no doubt. Number 100. A person who offers a lamp will not take birth again in this world. Number 107. The ancestors say, when someone in our family pleases Lord Keshava by offering him a lamp during the month of Kartik, then by the mercy of the Lord who holds the Sudarshan Chakra in his hand, we will all attain liberation. This is what the ancestors say. And number 112. Even a person addicted to all sins and averse to all pious deeds, who somehow offers a lamp during Kartika, becomes purified. Of this there is no doubt. 114. O Narada, no sin exists anywhere in the three worlds that will not be purified by offering a lamp to Lord Keshava during Kartika. Number 129. Somehow or other, a mouse once lit a lamp that someone offered on Ekadashi during the month of Kartika. That mouse attained a rare human birth and then went to the supreme spiritual world.
So this is during the Ekadasi. The last one was the mouse. We know the story. It got stuck, and it was trying to take that out of the mouth, and indirectly it was
Arati.
doing the arati as well, right? So a couple of things I would like to wrap this up. One is where Prabhu read a verse where the ancestors are all praying that anybody in our generation, if they are able to offer the lamp, then we will all be delivered, right? So this is a significant verse because we have in our DNA some part of all our ancestors. We are the end product of all our ancestors, okay? So we are the end result or end product of all the ancestors. When have you seen companies making iPhone? Somebody puts little part, somebody puts, then in the end you get a beautiful iPhone. So we are there in the very end. So we owe to our ancestors, whether we know, whether we believe it or not. I would like to say that one small incident. This is from Emory University, okay? So if some of you are thinking that who cares about the ancestors, they're old people dead and gone. I would like to mention this. You can do a search in Google or anywhere. In Emory University, this was found there in the Emory University. So they had few mouse. Poor mouse is always in the experiments, right? So, or guinea pigs, right? So this mouse, they had few mouse, and they had cherry blossom infused cheese. for the mouse. Okay, so within a cage, the mouse was there, and mouse always likes cheese. So they gave the cherry blossomed infused cheese. They loved that, and the mouse was biting away, enjoying. Next day, as the mouse bit the cherry blossom cheese, same time they applied shock in the feet of the mouse. Okay, exact same time. So then, he thought maybe it's coincidence, by mistake I got a shock. How can I miss this? So tempting. So he came and attacked the cheese from another angle. They again shocked the feet at the same time. He came this way, this way, this way. He ran, he went slowly, tiptoe. Every time he puts the tongue in the cherry blossom cheese, they shocked the feet. Okay? Then next day, so this happened for few days in a stretch. So this mouse, after a week, 2 weeks, when they gave the cherry blossomed infused cheese, never went close. So tempting. No. They're putting it almost, no, running away, right? So then all these mouse, in a controlled environment, they send it from to Atlanta. Some of the mouse to Atlanta, some of the mouse to California, etc. And then they started breeding those mouse. The mouse had a wife, the wife had children, boys, girls, everything. And then those children were there, and then they were giving the cherry blossom infused cheese to the son, grandson, great grandson, 7 generations. Not even one mouse goes near that. So they go to another cheese that is not this cherry blossomed infused cheese, but they go to other cheese. But this cherry blossom, they go run away. Is that not startling? This is not devotees making this experiment. This is from Emory University. So what does it tell us? So we owe to our ancestors. Who we are is, we are the end product of our ancestors. That's why you have this Pitru Paksha and Mahalaya, Amavasya, etc. Right? So if you're able to do it, fine. If you're not, the opportunity is there, and that's what Prabhu had read, that our ancestors are praying wherever they are. They may be suffering, they may be in the intermediate realm. They're saying, any one of my future generation, if they offer the lamb, then we will all be delivered. So to summarize in the next couple of minutes, so today is a very special Ekadasi, which is the second of the Ekadasis that happened during this month of Damodar. And it is never too late. It's not too late. We gave a lot of examples from different sporting events that last minute also things can change. We have a lot of time. 4 days, like Sukhdev Goswami or Maharaj Parikshit had 7 days. Khatwanga had only one moment, which is 48 minutes. He surrendered and he went back home, back to Godhead. And also the most important thing, how they were able to do it, is with that 212-degree devotion. So that's the takeaway for all of us, okay? So whenever we hear the word 212, that's the difference between hot water and steam. And only when there is steam, there is turbines and everything, petrochemical industry and everything. So are you ready to apply that little heat to get to go where you want to go, right? So that's what it says. And according to, this legend of NFL, inches make the difference as to who's a champion and who's not a champion. And we had a lot of scriptural reference as well, that last minute things can go upside down in a right way. We heard about Ajamil. He was supposed to go here down south, but then he went north, way up. And then Draupadi, and then Gajendra, and then many other wonderful pastimes as well. So on behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank Kishore Mane Prabhu and his wonderful family for inviting us, opening the doors, opening their hearts for all of us on this very auspicious day. And we'd like to thank all of you as well for giving your valuable time in spite of this tricky weather that we have today. All of you are driving from far away places as well. So Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaura Premanande.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful lecture. And we'll do our
So anyone want to sing Damodar Ashtakam?
Padmakshi?
No, Prabhu.
Padmakshi? Yeah. Yeah.
विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी राष्ट्रचारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि भक्तवृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि भक्तवृंदा विश्वारं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं रसकुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानं यशोदापियोलुकलादपमानं परामृतमत्यन्तगोप्ता सदा मे मनस्या
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सप्तर्षि श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सप्तर्षि श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम सको श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। गंगा माई की यमुना माई की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी देवी की हरिनाम संकीर्तन की दामोदर मास की all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschat Desatharine Srila Prabhupada ki. So Prabhu's got some flowers for us to offer to Lord Damodar as well. So we can just pass around some flowers. We will chant the first verse of each one of the 4 Vedas and Mantra Pushpam, sprinklets of water. So I'll take 1 minute to chant this. So you can just come at the end and we can offer the flower petals to the framed picture of Lord Damodar. Ratnadatamam Harihi Om Om Isetvo Chetva Vayavastu Vayavastu Devo Va Savita Prarpetu Shrestatamaya Karmana Harihi Om Om Agnanaya Vitayo Granana Date Niyota Sachi Varshi Harihi Om Om Shanno Devi Avishtaya Apo Bhavantu Vitaye Shanor Avishravantu Naha Harihi Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shagana Bhavatu Shagana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvisavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Shanno Mitra Varunah Shanno Bhavatvarama Shanno Indro Brahaspati Shanno Vishnu Rukrama Namo Brahmane Namaste Vayu Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmam Avadu Tadvaktaram Avadu Avadu Mam Avadu Vaktaram Om Shanti 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 Hare Om Om Yogam पुष्पं वेद पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् पशुमान् भवति चन्द्रमा वा अपां पुष्पं पुष्पवान् प्रजावान् पशुमान् भवति य एवं वेद यो वामायतनं वेद आयतनवान् भवति ओम राजाधिराजाय प्रसज्यसायिने नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कूर्महे समे कामान् कामकामाय मह्यं कामेश्वरो वैश्वरो ददातु कुबेराय वैश्वराय महाराजाय नमः। It all come and offer. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
विश्वासमेव जायते शरीराविद्याया काढेंद्रिय पाहे काल ताणावाचा कठीण संसारे म्हणा तुम्ही म्हणा कंटिन्यू करा तो पण ट्राय करायचा तुम्ही कंटिन्यू करा No, I'm not brother. No, I'm not. Yeah, Ajit.
Yeah, yes.
That's the other. Yeah.
दीदी हे ना असं मला बाहेरच ठेवलं पाहिजे इथलं घेता जमणार नाही
मग हे तिकडे ठेव.
हा तिकडे